Well, hello everyone. My name is Passek, FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we'll be doing something a little different. I usually concentrate a lot on lakes. I do a few salmon patterns, I do a few steelhead patterns, I do a few river patterns. This one will be one of those few river patterns. It's one that I swear by. I love fishing Czech nymphs, and I really like fishing this Czech nymph. This one has been deadly for me, and it's not very difficult to tie. You just got to make sure you get proportions right and stuff. So, okay, so let's get her started. Today in the vise, we're going to be using one of these guys here. It's a CZ Authentic Czech Nymph, size 8. I tie them in a size 8-10. They are fairly large. They're not a small fly, right? I mean, you can tell by the size of my finger, and it's not a tiny little fly. So, got my fingers all poked and all bloody from the last one I tied. Yeah, so we'll be using that for the hook. For the body itself, we're going to be using some of this here. Fly Tying Specialties Nymph, Czech Nymph body dispenser here. And I'm going to be using this green here, which they call olive, and then the black. That's the two colors I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using some Semperfli NanoSilk in black. I'm going to be using some Semperfli silver wire in a 0.2 mil, and I'm going to be using some Hends Pearl Scud back in the number, I can't read that, number 20, I think. It's a kind of a olivey pearl. So, okay, let's get her going. So, wax my thread. Start behind the eye there. Just get a layer down, cut off your tag. And I'm just going to get a layer down, right down around this corner a bit. And then come back. Now you could do it this way or you can do it the other way. I like doing it both ways, but now I'm going to take some sticky back flat lead, and I'm going to go roughly where that was there. Keep my thread out of the way. It's usually easier with the thread out of the way, but I find that it sticks a little bit nicer when there's thread on, but 6 of one and a half a dozen the other, I think. And I'm just going to wrap this all the way up to just shy of the hook eye. Just wanting that extra, oh, that just broke off, which is fine. You just want that extra weight, right? You want Czech nymphs, you want down, and you want them down now. Oh, that just came off. That's okay. I got another piece here. So that's what it looks like. It comes in a sheet, and it's just got a sticky back on it. And it's got a little bit of that piece of plastic on the back just to keep it so the sticky doesn't get everywhere. You just got to peel that little plastic off. Right? That's it. And then I'm just going to finish this off here at the front because I want it all the way up. There's two reasons for it. I want it heavy, and I want it I want it heavy, and I want the taper. Right? There's a taper that this builds, and I want that, right? So just want to make sure that it's fully covered here. Just break that off, and if it doesn't break off all the way properly, just cut it. This stuff is really easy to cut. You don't have to worry about your scissors unless you're cutting a ton of it. And then I'm going to go again, and now I'm going to come up about 1.5 of the ribs of the time zone around, and again I'm going to go to there, and I'm going to stop about 1.5 short, so about there, and rip that off. And then I'm going to go again about, let's make sure that's nicely depressed there, about there, and I'm just going to do like 2 wraps. This is getting me that almost that scud-like body look, but it's adding that extra weight that I want, right? So about like that. Okay. Just make sure this is all tied in. Get that away from the eye if you got too close, which I did, but again, no problem. And just go back over top of it. Like I said, you can do this before you put the thread on. I do it both ways. I really like doing it once the thread is on because it gives it that little bit more of a to stick. Now you could just put a little bit of crazy glue on and then do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So a little bit of wax. Just make sure everything is nicely waxed. Okay. Now I'm going to take my 0.2 mil Semperfli wire here, and try to find the start of it. There it is. And you don't want one that's going to stand out too much. Actually, probably the best is, and I don't have any with me, that's why I'm not doing it, is mono. So if you've got some nice mono, like some 5, 6, 8 pound mono, 10 pound mono, anything like that, that's actually the best for doing this, because it's not really that you're just wanting that rib segmentation rib, and you're wanting it to hold the scud back on, or the pearl on. You're not really wanting it for like to be seen, right? That's not why that's here, not on these. So now I'm going to tie in the pearl scud back here from Hens. Don't worry if it frays there. You're going to get that all covered anyway. And right back around that corner there. Get that out of the way. And then I'm just going to try to tie down some of these frays just so they're out of the way more than anything. Like I said, it doesn't really matter because it's all going to get out of the way, but for the sake of the video, I'll be picky. Okay, now I'm going to come back to my spot where I started my fly, way back here. I'm going to bring my vise to like that, and then I'm going to flatten my thread. Okay, then I'm going to wax it really well. I really want it this waxed well. And I'm going to actually take a lot out of my thread and wax a lot of it, and then I'll bring it back, because I'll be doing this. Usually I do 3, 4, 5 times I do my dubbing, because I do a little bit at a time. I don't like piling on a bunch, so just a little bit at a time. And you're wanting that this scud like look right to it, so you're going to start thinner at the back, nice and thin at the back, and then slowly come forward. And as you come forward, tighten that noodle up, tighten that noodle up, tighten it up. He's actually one of my favorite flies to tie. I don't know why, it just is. I tied a crap load of these before I went and competed in the 2009 Nationals on the Elk River in BC. And yeah, I tied a crap load of these style, not all like this. Some had hot spots, some didn't. This one won't. This one's going to be a little bit more natural. Different sizes, different colors, different weights, different everything, right? So, yeah, I tied so many of them up. I actually got really good at them, and I just like tying them. Just they're just a fun little, simple little fly, fun to do, and get amazing results with them. If you know how to fish the Czech nymph style of fishing, I mean, it's absolute killer if you know what you're doing. And if you don't, there's a few books out there that are really deadly. I can't remember what the one's called, but it's a Czech nymphing book from Poland or Slovenia or Slovakia. I've got it here. Oh, there it is right there. This one here, if you guys are into Czech nymphing, absolute Bible. You must get this one. Czech Nymph by, where are we? That's the second edition. Where's his name? So I can see here. There, at the top. It's, yeah. This is an absolute, the Bible of Czech nymphing, in my opinion. But, yeah, so. Okay, continue on. Again, like I said, I like building up as I go, so that's why I do take a little longer to build these. And I do, it's going to be a little bit of a longer video just because I like I said, I like taking my time on them and getting that body shape the way I like it. Right, and a little bit more. Right, so I think this will do, I think. Put that last little bit back in the container. Nice and fluffy there. Yeah, there you go. Get that all back. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little more wax. And now I'm going to go with the straight black out of this Czech nymphing kit. This is an awesome dubbing kit too, guys, if you're into the Czech nymphing thing. I don't know where to get it anymore. I don't know if it's even still made. This is probably 10 years old, this pack, but wow, it's amazing. It's really nice dubbing too. It's really easy to use. Works really well. It goes on easy. It's got that really neat look to it. tiny bit more at the front. Actually, a little bit more even. I like having a bit of a bulkier area up here. One more right there. Then I can actually just come right through, go right to the front. Now I'm going to take my scud back and I'm going to lay it right over top. And I want this laying right on the top. Now, again, if it's not perfect, you can fix that as you're bringing your rib forward, but just a loose wrap, loose wrap, loose wrap. And you can just tighten, make sure it's really tight along the back. Okay, a couple more, then I'm going to lay this back, a couple in front. Nip off my extra there. And then now I'm going to, opposite the way I dubbed, oh, actually, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to put a half hitch in here because I always do this, is I can have a tendency of bumping the thread. So I'm going to go opposite the way I tied in my dubbing. And every time I go around, you'll notice that my finger, I hold my finger on the actual scud back, and I'm just keeping it where I want it so it doesn't get pulled by the rib. And I want it fairly tight all the way. One more, and right to the front here. Now, if you want, you could have done that. You didn't have to do it all the way to the front. The rib, you could have done it in stages, and not put it through there. But so now I just helicopter that off and get my whip finishing tool. Give that a bit of a whip finish, make a bit of a head there. Not huge, but definitely a head. Cut that off. If you've got any little bit of a stuff in your eye here, like I've got a little bit, there we go, I already got it out. A little bit of that Hens scud back was in there. So there's pretty well your finished fly. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Velcro and I'm just going to brush out the black portion. This is what acts as your little legs in your caddis, right? You can just give this a tiny rough if you want, just to make it look a bit more buggy, but don't take too much out there. You definitely want the legs to be the predominant thing sticking out. And there you go. Now if you've got a couple that are too long, you just get in there and just give them a nip off, right? And that's it. And there's your finished Czech nymph. These are great little patterns. Like I said, they work really, really well. I've done very well with them in some rivers and done well with them in others. But if you've got caddis in the rivers, this is the way to go. I tell you, and you're wanting to lead these flies. So the fly is in behind and you're leading them with a tight line, almost pulling them, but not quite. Just ever so slightly pulling, but I mean ever so slightly. So you want it nice, natural, but you don't get too fancy with tying Czech nymphs, because they will bounce on the bottom. They're heavy. They'll bounce on the bottom. They'll get dull. And that kind of stuff. So just make them, if you're going to tie them up really simple. This one here, when I'm going at it and not trying to do a video, this one takes me about 4 minutes to tie one. So I can just give her and tie a whole bunch of them up and have a bunch of them in my box in different sizes. Like I said, I'll do 6s, 8s, 10s, and 12s in this. And I'll change up my colors. I'll use pretty well every color in here. My predominant body colors will be the green, the black, the brown, and then I'll do hot spots of red, orange, yellow, green, right? So, because sometimes you'll put a little hot spot right in the middle. So right in this area here, instead of going all the way green and then black, you go green, a little bit of orange, and then black. Just gives it that little hot spot for it, right? So, but, okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like I said, I love tying these. They're buggy looking flies. They're simple to tie and they're super effective. Yeah, just do them up in different colors, different sizes, and different weights. And I like marking mine. Like I'll mark this one here. I'll just leave it with a black because I've got 2.5 layers of thread of lead underneath. If I only do one, I'll mark it with an orange tip. If I do like 4 layers or 3 layers, then I'll do it a different color. Maybe I'll do a green head or whatever. But I mark them up so I know what weight they are. So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that one and learned something from it. And we'll see you guys on the next tying video. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, please consider doing so. And spread the word to all your buddies and everybody on all the other forums and stuff. Because the more this channel grows, the quicker it'll get to 2,000 and subscriptions. And the quicker we get to 2,000 subscriptions, the quicker we can give away this big package of Semperfli material, Hens material, and other stuff. So, okay, tie lines, everyone.